together that 4th of July day. That's when the land you're standing on became the U.S. of A. United we will stand, but divided we fall. One nation under God says it all. Men are created equal, words written in by hand. They all stand to fight when a cry for freedom rings. Freedom isn't free, it comes with a cost. One nation under God says it all. One nation under God. This whole world's changing, it's changing every day. For the land of the free, and the home of the brave. Stand up, everybody, stand proud and tall. One nation under God says it all.
It all.
Good evening and welcome to IITW Radio. It is 8/7 of 2019. Tonight assisting Calvin O is Greg Williams in his song One Nation Under God.
That song moves me. It moves me.
I know, what a great song. Calvin is one hell of an artist.
It really is.
I think they should use that song when they open up for their political stuff this year for doing their campaigns.
He's good.
I don't care which one of them uses it. I mean, what a great song. One Nation Under God says it all.
Says it all.
Yeah, I think that's a problem with our country now.
I know they took God out of the classrooms, and now they I don't know what they teach, but apparently it's not American history.
Well, they don't teach cursive writing anymore either. I mean,
the liberals have dumbed down education and dumbed down this country and force-fed our kids a bunch of liberal nonsense. It's unbelievable. And of course, the mainstream media is involved. Boo the media. Hey, I got an idea. Repudiate the media. Vote Trump. Screw the media. Vote Trump. You really want to stick? You really want to stick it to CNN? They're so dishonest. Vote Trump.
So what's with the tie and stuff tonight? The tie, suit and a tie? Do you just have to impress the audience or what?
Well, I don't know. I just had it on all day, and I don't know. Sometimes I wear it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, you're looking all dapper. He'll have to call you Dapper Dan.
There's a lot to cover. I mean, these Democrats in the media, that's where the real racists are. The real racists, let's be frank about it. CNN, that's a racist network. They're all racist. You can't say anything about CNN saying it's racist. CNN's a racist network, okay? They think everybody's dumb. MSNBC, NBC, ABC, I'll go further. Google's racist. I mean, all their little algorithms and how they want to keep people off of YouTube, and they're worried about this, that, and the other. That's all racist. It's all built into all of their little stuff. It's all reverse racism even. It's sick. It really is. They're worse in the media than anything Trump's ever said. And, Trump never said, go back to your own country. But yet that's what CNN ran with and still runs with it. That's what all the CNN feeds, the local news stations. And Trump said, go back to your own country. He never said that. He never used the word country, but that's what they do. They could deliberately misrepresent him. Then one deliberate misrepresented story, which is a total lie, will be picked up by another 5 or 6 liberal medias, which mainly is the New York Times and the Washington Post, and then they'll run with it. And it's a pack of lies, and most of America sees it. It's a tragedy, these 2 shootings. But to blame it all on Trump, hey, last I saw, this stuff was going under Obama as well. And it's a mental health issue. That's what it is. And you got to keep the guns away from the mentally ill.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I haven't heard one media outlet, Fox, none of them, talk about it was the actual shooter and not Trump. I mean, from what I've seen, every one of the damn news outlets are all saying that Trump pulled the trigger. He never pulled the trigger. Blame it on the dumbass with the mental issues. I mean, everybody that I know has guns, AR-15s. They are pissed right now because of what's going on. Talking about taking away the Second Amendment rights. None of my friends are going to go out and commit mass shootings. Period. Yep.
And nobody's going to come and take our guns if they're smart. You know, there's a reason America hasn't been invaded. Let me tell you something. If a foreign power wanted to invade America, they would really rue the day.
Oh, in Switzerland, if you're in
Lock
Switzerland,
and load. Lock and load, baby. Lock and load.
the member of every household in Switzerland, it's mandatory that they have an AR-15.
How about that?
Yeah, and you don't see anybody coming in and trying to piss them off.
No. No, so it is what it is. I mean, you know, but this is what they do. You know, they can't wait to politicize everything. You know who really disgusts me is Booker. Aside from, you know, all the ridiculous newsreaders on CNN, and they're all in the tank for the Democrats, you know, whatever happened to free speech? You know, the libs used to care about free speech, you know, and now I see the Southern Poverty Institute. Talk about a hateful institute. The Southern Poverty Institute is a racist, horrible organization. They made their money. They took down the Klan and then became censors. You know, they took down the Klan. They got a lot of money from that and then went far left. And they, you know, at one point in time, it may have been something worthwhile, but they are so far left, they want to identify middle America as a terrorist to these guys. You know, the people that are suing to get the records that Obama's people and the crooked Hillary people didn't want us to see, they think they're a terrorist group. These are Muslim Brotherhood loving lunatics. It's just sad. And yet they're cited in USA Today as if there's some credible organization. They wouldn't know a hate group because they are a hate group.
Did you see where?
Talk about hate groups. CNN's a hate group. They hate Trump, and that's all you get. 24/7, 99% of their Trump coverage is hating Trump. Same with MSNBC. They make me want to throw up. So I say, screw the media, vote Trump.
Yeah, did you see where Hillary and Chelsea are now have a book together?
Yeah, who cares?
Hey,
I'm not going to read
they're
it.
Prime and
I
Chelsea.
Read that Mark Levine book about the media no longer being free, about all the bullshit going on in the Pravda. You know, our mainstream media has become like the Russian media of the 80s and 90s. It's sad. It really is. Except they're all Democrat. They're into the tank for the Democrats. They're in the tank for socialism, which means they're basically, if they could have their way, Google would be working for communist. They already are working for communist China. Google cares more about communist China than they do the United States of America. And to me, that's bullshit. You know, Google's got a giant field of mirrors killing wildlife in the name of clean energy. You know, whatever happened to people that cared about our American wildlife? You got birds roasting as they're flying over these thousands of acres of solar panels that what are they? I mean, it runs an office building, you know, whatever. The fact of the matter is Google's in the tank with the commies, you know. So I'm not a fan of Google.
Yeah, but if Google shuts down and Facebook shuts down, it's going to send the country into turmoil.
Fine. Hey, Facebook is MySpace waiting to happen. And after Facebook, there'll be another better option.
Yep, there's always one that's going to take over. So, did you lose any money in the stock market this week?
You know, you
last couple days has been down.
Sell. You don't lose unless you sell.
Oh, so you made money.
No, well, it is what it is. I mean, you know, one day you lose, one day you make. I'm up. Everybody's up. I mean, frankly, you know, little dips in the economy or the market, you know, when we're in the middle of a trade war with China, that doesn't bother me. We've got good economic policies. We've got a sound economy. If the Fed ever got its act together, we'd be rocking and rolling because really the interest rates are about a point high. Here's the point. The Fed bent over backwards to subsidize the ignorant Obama economy, which about ruined the country. So they basically bent over backwards subsidizing that guy. You know, that's what kills me. Now, then Trump comes in, he gets the economy humming, and they don't want to give him the same playing field. They want to give Trump a harder playing field. Let's raise the rates and make it twice as hard for Trump to do well with the economy while they bent over backwards bailing out Obama's ridiculous, counterproductive economic policies. It is what it is. Trump's got it. I'm very happy with the way our economy's moving. I'm very happy with what we've got on the trade front. I'm happy that he's got Mexico to cooperate with us on the border because the Democrats sure weren't. And this idiot in Texas that is trying to hurt Trump supporters by releasing them in El Paso, like that's going to put them out of business. It's going to be a reverse thing. Trump has done more for El Paso than anybody in El Paso. He's done more for Dayton, Ohio than anybody in Dayton, Ohio, in terms of what he's done as president. And for that mayor of that little crappy town, I forget the name of it, for the mayor of Ohio, that little Ohio town that got all the, that was
Dayton.
shot was a terrible thing. Yeah. For her to come out and rip Trump and tell, that just made me sick. I mean, she's a partisan hack. And that Sherrod Brown, he's another partisan hack. And, they just want to take our guns away. And frankly, I hope that they don't get to do that. The assault weapons ban was a disaster. Should have never happened. And it's never going to happen again if the people are smart. Go ahead.
You know what pisses me off about the media is if you're going to be fair and balanced, or say you're fair and balanced, then give fair coverage. The guy in Dayton, Ohio, was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Am I going to blame Bernie Sanders? Am I going to blame Bernie Sanders because that asshole went and shot up a bunch of people? No. I'm not going to blame Trump because, an asshole went and shot up El Paso. But you know what really pisses me off more than anything? These stupid son of a bitches at the news outlets, they sit there and they cover 2 shootings, right? But where in the hell were they during this past weekend in Chicago? 50 people shot, 7 murdered, and not one freaking word about it? Not one damn word. I mean, I went on and checked the statistics. Every weekend there's more people shot in Chicago. Every month there's more people shot in Chicago, and not one damn word out of the media about it. Not one freaking word. And that's mass shootings right there.
I know. No, it is what it is. And it's terrible that it happens. And it should never be allowed to happen. But I think it's a failure for the local community in Ohio. That guy was like the idiot in Miami. He had all kinds of warning signals. The shooter in Miami, that little high school there, he had like 100 law enforcement encounters and they never arrested him. Are you kidding me? That guy had a bunch of warning signs over there. He had a hit list, a rape list, a murder list, and people were afraid of him and all kinds of, and nobody did anything. Look, if there's a crazy man living in your neighborhood, you might want to, let law enforcement know so he can't go out and buy a gun and hurt us all.
Yep, or hurt anybody else. I got to give some shout outs real quick. Doug Williams, Todd Foster, Madeline. Let's see, we'll read some of the comments. Doug said homeschool teachers, let's see, homeschoolers teach their kids cursive and history. Yep, my kids know cursive. Doug said, tell it like it is, Greg.
I try.
Debbie said, hello, everybody. Hillary and Chelsea's book, Dumb and Dumber.
That's pretty cool.
What products or services have the Clintons ever produced or sold to acquire multi-million-dollar wealth they possess? Now, I tell you one thing. Did you see where Monica Lewinsky's got this new series coming out? But I think she switched.
That's going to be revealing. I bet that'll be interesting.
I think she switched parties because Democrats left a bad taste in her mouth.
Oh,
that was a low blow. Oh, hey, damn! No pun intended there.
Hold on a minute. Are we talking about Bill Clinton? Hold on a minute. Seriously, I don't know. There was something about this guy and cigars. I don't know what his deal is, but
I never had sexual relations with that woman.
There's my cigar.
You got Bill the Monica Clinton. Leg and all. I feel sorry for her.
Clinton. Poor guy.
Finally, she's gonna.
Hey, he has too many women in his life.
Finally, she's gonna get to tell, aside from from the female perspective, on what actually happened. Diane said, "Good evening, guys." Todd said, "I'm sure it was Bernie."
Bernie, baby. Hey, feel the burn. Feel the burn. Seriously, here's the problem with these mass shootings. That one in Las Vegas, we still don't even know what the truth is behind that because the government doesn't want us to know.
Yep, I'm still waiting
Okay,
on a
there's
report
some
from that.
weird stuff on that. I'm really disappointed in our. You know, the sad part is we can't because of the politicization of the FBI that occurred under Obama. We can't even trust the FBI anymore. It's
Well,
sad.
look at what Strzok's
I hope
doing.
they get it. I hope it gets straightened out. I hope they finally get it cleaned up over there.
Peter Strzok,
They got way too political.
well, Peter Strzok, him and his girlfriend, you know, Peter Strzok, he was the one pushing the whole phony dossier and everything. And because the FBI fired him for leaking classified information and giving it out, which they did not do that to Comey. You know, well, Comey got the axe, but it wasn't for that. But now all of a sudden, Strzok is suing the FBI. He's like that creepy porn lawyer out in California there. I'm just waiting for him to get caught with his
Wait a
pants
minute.
down.
Are you talking about the
What
creepy
he already
porn
did.
lawyer that CNN fell in love with and put on about 100 times, and they acted like he was an apostle? You know, they acted like he was some deity, and he was on CNN 100 times. You talking about that discredited, crooked lawyer?
Yeah, I think that's the same one. It was 1,140 something times. He was on
Tells you a
CNN.
lot about CNN and their quality of their journalism.
I have no use for CNN whatsoever.
You
Diane
know
wrote,
what? It's a shame what happened to that company. They used to have it. You know, that poor guy George Bernard Shaw. I remember way back in the early '80s, they did a pretty good job. And then Ted married Jane Fonda, and then they got more and more liberal. And next thing you know, they got so far left, you thought they were Pravda.
you know what's pissing me off is what the Democrats have done by showing up in El Paso and stuff, doing fundraisers when these families haven't even bought the damn coffins for the loved ones, and they're doing fundraisers to support the Democratic Party. What kind of bullshit is that?
Hey,
I mean-
go talk to Uncle Joe about it.
Oh, Joe Biden today sitting there talking about all this crap. Hey, listen, that guy has lost his freaking mind. What a
Let me tell you about
dumbass.
Joe Biden. I hope he gets that. I hope he gets the nomination, because then we can start looking into his China ties, because that guy is so dirty. And to take $1 billion for your son from China, and then when Ukraine wants to investigate your corrupt son, and then screw Ukraine. I mean, this guy's dirty. Like many of these Democratic politicians, they go into politics to get wealthy. Biden's a phony. I know a lawyer down here that knows him and knows him well. He's a phony.
Well, isn't there a law? I mean, you're an attorney. Isn't there a law that if a person isn't mentally sane, you can't charge them with a crime?
Are you talking about Joe Biden's early stage dementia?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Because the guy, he has a problem even putting together a few sentences. God help him if he's ever asked a question or two that he's not, scripted on.
I'm waiting on that son of a
Biden
bitch
is
to say.
disaster.
I'm waiting on that son of a bitch to say, if you like your guns, you can keep your guns.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
what an idiot.
That was so funny when he said, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Like, we're that stupid. I mean, really, only the Democrats would deliberately lie to the American public, get some bullshit law passed by one vote that nobody really liked, and then 2 years later brag about how they got over on the American public. And then 2 years later say, hey, if you want to keep your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Like, we're all that stupid. Give me a break.
Well, apparently he thinks so. And now he's going after the guns. You know what's crazy about the whole thing and trying to go after the guns? They need to go after the mental health issue. It's not the
agree.
damn gun. No gun ever jumped up off a table and went and shot anybody. All of my friends that
agree.
I know have guns. They're not going to go out and commit mass murders. I mean, they're responsible gun owners. So for them to say that, everybody with an AR-15, and I tell you something, when our forefathers wrote the Constitution, that was so that we would have, when the Constitution was written, the people had the same firepower as the government. For people that don't understand that, for you to own guns and stuff, it's not just to protect yourself either. It's also in case,
right.
in case the government tries to take over the people. And I tell you what, if they go and they try
I
to
agree.
take, there will be a revolution in this country if they go and try to take everybody's guns away from them. It's not going to happen. That is our constitutional right. And if they screw with the Second Amendment, there goes the First Amendment, your right to freedom of speech, which, we got the bitch
Wait a
down
minute,
here
wait
who's
a
a
minute.
congresswoman down here in Florida
They've
saying,
already, they've already screwed freedom of speech with political correctness. See, they're using political correctness to screw our speech. Frankly, the big media companies and the big tech companies are now using curtailing free speech to get their agendas across. They're the ones that are screwing our First Amendment rights. I mean, ever since Obama sold the American internet out and gave it away to the big tech companies, they've been nothing but censors for freedom of expression, free ideas.
well,
I mean,
just like with Obamacare, when the government tells you that you have to purchase something and you don't want to, that's communism. I don't give a damn who you are. But they're going to come in next and tell me I can't drive a Ford truck. I mean, I've got to buy a Dodge. I don't care for Dodge. I don't want a Dodge. I want a Ford. I want a Jeep. They're not going to tell me what I can and what I cannot do. But for them to come in and impose a tax, and people need to go on and actually research out the tax thing. The tax thing is a voluntary thing. Go on and look at Ron Paul. You could type it in on Google or on YouTube, and go in and see what Ron Paul and some of the Democrats have to say about it, about the tax code and the way it's illegal for them to do it. Go and type it in.
well, look. We're all going to pay our income taxes. We're all going to pay, our fair share. That's the American way. Yeah, that's controversial, the income tax. However, the bottom line is when you get a judge like Roberts, who bends over backwards, our Supreme Court Chief Justice, who bent over backwards and did everything a Supreme Court judge is not to do to uphold Obamacare, not once but twice, that was a disaster. And he's a terrible Chief Justice. I got to tell you, this guy visions himself as now a swing voter. He'll move to the left just because he thinks that's the right thing to do. And it's not the right thing to do. The country wasn't built on the foundation of the left. Okay, FDR was not a hero. He did a lot of stupid things. And there's a lot of corruption. Talk about a racist. FDR was a racist. The New York Times has a long history of racism with FDR. But yet, it is what it is. The libs think they can get away with everything. The biggest racist in the world is the white liberal who's done more to keep the black people down than anybody. And yet they act like they're there. When you get Biden coming down south, Biden will come south and then start talking like he's black to his black audience, which is completely phony. And yet, he'll get away with it. They give him a free pass. Trump says, "Look, what do you got to lose? Vote for me. I'm gonna raise everybody's standard of living. We're gonna make this a country where everybody can make money." And he's doing it.
Wait, back up there. Did I just hear you bash a Republican a second ago?
Which one?
Roberts.
That Supreme Court justice has really let the country down on multiple issues. There's 3 or 4 big cases that he's been on the wrong side of.
Roberts is a dumbass. I mean, that Roberts is the one who selects the judges for the FISA court, our unknown court. Why do we have to have a secret frickin' court?
This guy Roberts, as far as I know, he could be involved in the conspiracy against Trump. Really? And to let that kind of bullshit go on in the FISA court, and all these FISA court, not one of these judges have said, "Wait a minute, we got taken. We got sold a bill of goods. This is not how it's supposed to work." I'm against the FISA courts in principle.
Well, that's because Roberts is in charge of all the judges on there. I got to read a couple of these comments here. Doug said the Second Amendment's for the protection against the government abuse and attempt to diminish or eliminate all the other rights afforded in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I agree 100%. Todd wrote in, they're only going to give you a 2-cylinder in that Jeep. And people are going to have to bear with me. I had my eyes done, and I'm freaking seeing double. You ever go and get that dilation done on your eyes? Now the doctor's giving me eye drops to put in because my retina's detaching. Diane said, "Big Brother is everywhere.
Hey,
Been dictating
hey,
for 30 to 40 years. Slow and easy brainwash." Doug said, "Ford is the only American automobile company, and they took no handouts from the government. Support Ford Motor Company and go Trump."
I like Ford. I got some stock in Ford. It's been down a little bit, but I'm optimistic. I think Ford's going to do well in the next few years.
Hello,
But Travis,
Jolie.
about this detached retina, don't rub your eyes.
Oh, I do the whole palm to the eyeball things for about 10 minutes.
Don't rub your eyes.
That feels
Don't
so
rub your eyes.
damn
Not a
good.
good idea.
Diane had, and this is something that stands for everybody, and she's absolutely right. She said, vote them out. And that's what people need to do. If they're not hearing what they like or the laws are, screwed up like they are, and it goes back to the tax thing. Look at a regular automobile. You go and buy a brand new automobile, you pay full taxes on that automobile. Now, 5 years down the road, you're going to sell me your automobile. I've got to go pay taxes on that automobile.
Well, you pay for it, right? Well, you pay for it, right?
Yeah, and then if you report that on your taxes, you're going to have to report that as a source of income. So you're getting one automobile in a lifetime, and I know that from owning several car lots in my life, is that that automobile will be taxed 5 to 10 times during its lifetime on the same thing it was originally paid taxes on. Now, when you go and work, it should be a fair barter thing. But when you go and work for somebody, it's a barter thing. You give them equal trade, and they're going to compensate you for the equal time. That's a barter thing. But then, but then, crash.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We have a lot of stuff like this going on around here. All right, go ahead.
But then you pay.
Small problem with the set.
You have taxes.
Good.
You have taxes that you're taking out of your check every week. Okay.
Yes.
And then when you go to the store, you have to pay taxes. You buy jeans, you have to pay taxes. That $1 million suit you got on there, you have to pay taxes on. Everything you pay taxes. We're taxed to freaking death.
It reminds me of a song, and it goes a little bit like this. Taxman, the Taxman, the Beatles song, the Taxman. You heard it here first.
I'm gonna have to get Chris playing a guitar on there with you one night. Chris is pretty damn good on his guitar.
Taxed.
Say hi,
It's
Chris.
worse in Great Britain. It's worse in Britain than it is here, though.
I got to thank Chris. He's the one that keeps everything running in the backgrounds. All 19 of these screens have Greg's face on them tonight. That's kind of freaky, Greg.
That's scary.
I turned to the side. I got you there. I turned to the front. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4 screens up here.
Hey, all I can say, I don't want to repeat myself, but if you really want to screw CNN, vote for Trump. If you really want to stick it to MSNBC, vote for Trump.
And I'm probably going to wind up voting for Trump this year.
Hey,
unless somebody better comes along.
We'll vote for Trump.
I'm damn sure not going to vote for higher taxes, open borders, and all the other bullcrap, and take my guns away. I'm not voting for that.
Hey, the far left is so eaten up with their stupid train that they don't even know how ridiculous they sound. But what's great about it is CNN's showing the tank for the Democrats that they promote these debates that not many people are watching. Only the hardcore Democrats, because I might flip and see 5 or 10 minutes or here or there. Or maybe I like to see a little bit of the after spin, but the bottom line is nobody's really that interested because it's so far removed from reality. The sad part is if the Democrats got in power, they would try to do that. They would try to get so far left, and they would have our country where you couldn't even recognize it.
Jolie said you've got a song for everything.
Hey, there's a good song out there, and it goes a little like, Jolie, don't you take my man Jolie. Whatever it was.
You better hope she never comes. She's going to kick your ass.
Jolie. Who sang that song? That was Dolly Parton or something. Really a good song.
Chris said he didn't know you could make sausage. You just butchered that.
Yeah, I know. I wasted money for voice lessons.
Diane wrote, no taxation without representation. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But okay, where was I?
Yeah.
Where was
Well,
I at
anyway,
now?
hey, let's talk about more Democrat candidates.
Well, did
for
you see
president.
before we do that? Did you see where the Brits now are wanting to do a fair trade? They're sitting there talking about that they're not going to have any bananas, any fruit, or anything come Christmas time, and in the fall, if Trump doesn't pull back his fair tax or his tariffs and stuff on them, so now they're wanting to
Who?
work a deal. The Brits, our
Well,
British
we're
friends
going to do
across
a
the
deal with
sea.
Great Britain. We want them to get out of Brexit. We'll take care of Britain. We like Britain. We'll take care of Britain.
Well,
We'll give them a great deal.
Now they're
We're
setting up.
about fair trade and free trade.
Now they're setting up a coalition to go against Iran. They're now going to give support to all those oil tankers that are going through.
Yeah, everybody but Germany, because Germany, believe it or not, they have a long history with the Muslim Brotherhood. You know, these people, the Muslim Brotherhood, these idiot Muslims from the Middle East, they were tied in with the Nazis. They go back. Germany and the Muslim Brotherhood go back. It's sad. And now the Muslim Brotherhood's trying to do the same thing here in America that they've done in Germany, which is almost be viewed as legitimate. The Muslim Brotherhood is a front terrorist organization. They can't be trusted. They don't deserve to be anywhere near our levers of power. And it really burns me up that the people of Minnesota and Michigan, I believe, are that stupid to elect two Muslim Brotherhood people that would sell this country out in a heartbeat. These people have no business being in Congress, but worse, no business being on and these highly sensitive committees. It shows you the lack of judgment of Pelosi and the Democratic Party in general.
I don't know what Pelosi's doing lately. I mean, she's back here sleeping between the Botox and the I don't know.
Well, you know, Schumer, I got some wrath for Schumer. Schumer threatened Trump with intelligence. He said, "You don't mess with intelligence, they'll make your life miserable." You know what Obama did? At one time, there was like, he did a lot of terrible things right before he left office. That used to be there was like 3 or 4 major organizations that were involved in intelligence and national defense. Somehow he broke them up into 17. You know, made a bunch of littler ones so they could all make noise, and they were all trying to stir up dirt that was all created by the Democrats and the Russians. Yet Mueller, for some reason, didn't look into that. Speaking of Mueller, talk about an uninformed guy. I don't know who suffers more from early onset dementia, Bob Mueller or Joe Biden. They're both empty suits. It was terrible. Terrible to see what Mueller did, because it wasn't Mueller doing that. He was a figurehead, and a bunch of Trump-hating, Hillary-loving, Muslim Brotherhood traitors to our country tried to run the president and live that insurance policy out. What happened to Trump was terrible. It should never happen to anybody. But, you know, that's what we get after 8 years of a corrupt Obama administration and a corrupt media. And frankly, our media is corrupt. Make no mistake about it. CNN is corrupt. They knowingly print and they knowingly broadcast false information, and they do it intentionally, just like the New York Times. They knowingly spread misinformation about our country and our government, and it burns me up. Screw the New York Times. Vote for Trump.
I'm not sure what Jackie meant, but she said KKK talking. I hope she's not calling me KKK.
Talking. I don't know anything about that.
I can't stand the KKK.
Hey, the KKK is done. There's nothing to them. They're a shell. They're nothing. They're nothing. But, you know, media would talk them up like there's something. You know, the media makes me so sick. It's almost hard to believe that our media in America is this in the tank for left-wing Democratic policies.
Yeah, Jackie, explain that one, because she said, really? And then she said KKK talking. I hope the hell you are not calling me KKK. I'm American Indian. Let me tell you what they did to my people. And the KKK did them to my people. And I got news for a lot of these people. And I'm getting ready to, after we get done tonight, I've got another 15-minute segment or half-hour segment that I'm doing. This racist bullshit that's going on is only caused by the frickin' media. And let me tell you something about your little wonderful president, Obama. The son of a bitch was half black and half white. Not once did I ever hear him refer to himself as half white. You know, I don't believe in the crap. I don't like the racist bullshit that goes on. I'm not KKK. Never will be. Can't stand the son of a bitch. Is anybody that wears a mask, including undercover cops who pull people over just to screw with them? And I'm going to get into that here
I'm aware of
in a
that
week.
situation.
Yeah, and you know about it. There was a situation where a young man got his ass kicked by two undercover cops that pulled up with mask on. The kid thought he was being abducted, and I'm going to get into that later as time goes on. But and so Jackie Eubanks, explain yourself.
What that really goes to is when the government screws up, they really screw up.
Yep. You know, I don't believe in the whole racist crap, and it didn't start. I mean, it started way before Obama. It's been going, but as the thing started to die out, and it started to end. And let me tell you something: in another 100 years, there won't be any white people. There won't be any black people. With all the interbreeding going on between whites and Mexicans, blacks and whites, Mexicans and blacks, there will not be a white-black race anymore in 100 years from now. So get over your bullshit.
We'll see. We'll figure out where all that goes. Yes, but what you're mentioning is, yes, we're one of the most least prejudiced countries in the world. Guess what? You don't have millions of people from all over the world wanting to come to America because it's a racist country. It's not a racist country. We're not racist. CNN's racist. New York Times is racist. The liberal media is racist, but America's not racist, and everybody knows it. The people from Mexico, they don't want to go to a racist country. They want to go to the best country in the world, which is America, where opportunity reigns. You know, I mean, you know, it's just so they've. Again, with the Democrats, everything is racist, everything's identity politics, and it will bite them in the ass in the end.
Usually the most racist people are the ones screaming racist. You look at AOC and 3 or AOC plus 3. Look at them. What did the black chick get up there and say? Don't be coming. If you don't know how to act black, then don't be coming in and getting in our group. First of all, who in the hell says that? I mean, that's as racist as you can get. If you don't know how to act black, why don't you try acting like a damn congressperson instead of a freaking race baiter?
Gay enough, apparently you have to be a real flamer gay, because if you don't act gay enough, then there's no room for you either with those people. They're so into identity politics, they make me sick. And listen, I love gay people, but I prefer gay conservatives over gay liberals. Hey, you know? And I may say something to a gay liberal because I think that his policies are stupid. And that doesn't mean I don't like gay people. That's what the whole problem is with the media. I mean, they make me sick. CNN, and they could all, like I say, you know, vote Trump. That's all I can say. I mean, let's stick it to the media. Vote Trump.
And if you're watching that dumbass from CNN, Don Lemon, that is the most racist son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he's on there talking about, oh, this is a racist. This is racist. Oh, my God. If the guy got any more racist, I'd throw up on my TV and burn it up. I mean, I can't stand watching that guy, although I put up and listen to his bullshit because it's like watching Comedy Central or Saturday Night Live.
Hey, and listen, it is a little bit sadistic to watch CNN because we're watching a network implode. I mean, their market share continues to drop. They're banking everything on a bunch of left-wing lunatic Democrats. None of them are worth a damn. And the country is moving in the right direction, whether you like Trump or not. And people that don't want to show an ID to vote, you know what? If you don't like this country, you can go somewhere else, okay? I think you should have to show a driver's license or a Florida ID. I live in Florida, a state ID, some sort of picture ID to prove you are who you are before your vote is counted. I mean, that is simply maintaining the integrity of the vote. You can't have a bunch of people making up votes and turning them in as Democrat votes like they do in California. Or you can't have a bunch of illegals voting or a bunch of people voting 3 and 4 times because they don't have to show an ID. Only the super liberal states allow that kind of behavior, and it's wrong. Speaking of which, how about California trying to say that you have to disclose your tax returns to run for president? Clearly unconstitutional, but yet the governor of California signed it. And now the justice people are suing them.
Oh, they're going to sue him. They should sue him. That has
already
nothing to
sued
do
him.
with the way you're running the country, unless you've been arrested
That'll
for
get
it.
thrown away.
Desiree said,
Only the federal government can mess with the federal election of the United States president.
Desiree said, "Good evening, boys." She goes, "Hey, you crazy man." I guess she's talking about you.
Probably me, probably you.
Jackie wrote, "We're all immigrants." No, we're not all immigrants. I'm not an immigrant. I am Native American Indian. My people were here before everybody else.
I'm an immigrant.
Yeah.
I might be an immigrant, but I have a little Indian in me because I think my forefathers may have thought that Pocahontas was a pretty good looker. I'm not talking about Warren. Okay, I'm talking about the original Pocahontas, a good-looking woman. Hey, it is what it is. John Smith, Pocahontas. It's a love story.
But hey, we're not all immigrants. If you guys want to be fair about this, and they want to say, okay, we're all immigrants, we're not all immigrants. My people, the Indian heritage, my ancestors were here before anybody. If anybody has a bitch to make, it would be me and my people. Yes, you're right, Jackie. We all bleed the same, and I say that all the time. But you never hear me get on here like everybody else.
We all bleed red. We all bleed red.
Yeah, we all
We're
bleed
all
red.
God's children.
But it got everybody, and this is a conversation that I had with a couple of my relatives this past weekend that actually live in shitholes up in New York on the Seneca Indian Reservation in Salamanca, and then some of my relatives in Cherokee and out in North Dakota. You know, they still live in crap holes that are there. Every treaty that was ever made with the American Indian, but everybody that's bitching about racism and stuff and how bad this country is, they all have a country to go back to. Mexicans can go back to Mexico if they want to. Blacks can go back to Africa if they want to. Chinese can go back to China if they want to. All these other nationalities can go back, but you never hear the American Indian. Wait, let me finish. You never hear the American Indians saying, all of you get your ass out of my damn country because you invaded it. You never hear them say that because we try to love everybody. We love nature. We love everybody. But the thing is that when you come throwing some bull crap at me, and I'm not talking about you, Jackie. No, I'm not 100% Indian.
No. She's talking about herself.
Jackie says she's Cherokee, but she's not 100% Indian. You know, that still gives you a claim to this land. But I don't think I hear you out saying all the blacks need to go back to Africa and straighten out their country. Chinese people need to go back to their country and straighten it out. Nobody, when's it going to end, Greg? Tell me. As soon as everybody starts loving everybody and feeling we all bleed red, we are all Americans under God, this nation, that's the way it was founded, and that's what it needs to get back to. Parents need to quit. Parents, they keep blaming it on video games. They blame it on every damn thing. They blame it on Trump. They blame it on Republicans for the mass shootings. When are their parents going to step up and take some responsibility and go, hey, the reason my son shot these people up is because he was a turnkey kid. We didn't spend any time with him. We didn't go out. There's too many damn deadbeat dads out there that don't spend any time with their kids. There's too many mothers having to raise their kids, and there's way too many damn grandparents having to raise their freaking kids while their kids go out and do meth. They go out and party. They're not responsible, and way too many damn kids still live at home at the age of 30 and 40 and 50.
Listen, but what you talk about is largely been educational system, the failures of it over the last 20 to 25 years, where every liberal idea has been tried in the name of education. And here in Duval County, they want the school board all of a sudden says, hey, we need a couple $2 billion to fix our old schools. Well, you know what? For the last 20 or 25 years, you should have been fixing our old schools. The money was in the budget, but you know what? They want to take that money and spend it elsewhere. So then, like in the true liberal tradition, a failing bureaucracy comes back to the government, back to the legislature with its hands out wanting more money on top of the mismanaged money they've already had. Okay? Duval County schools are not where they need to be, and they need to clean house. They need to do something far different than they're doing. That's all I can say about that. But the school systems have really largely contributed to what you're talking about, which is almost a society that's soft. What's very scary is apparently there's only about 18% of high school graduates these days are eligible for the military. So we've got a soft generation that can't even run, aside from the one, we love sports, we love football. There are athletes still,
I love dodgeball.
Thankfully, but we still have some athletes. But there's a whole society of soft people, that basically are unfit for military. 18% of the people, only 18% of high school graduates could qualify for the military here in Duval County. That's ridiculous.
Jackie wrote in and said, "Thank you." That's because that's not what I was hearing. No, we all had, no, we have mental illness. And Todd wrote in, yes, the mental illness, that's its own issue, and that's the whole thing with this. Respectable gun owners and the Second Amendment gives people that are responsible the right to own and possess firearms, not only to protect themselves, but to protect against tyranny from our government. And when you take that away, they can walk in. You look at all the other places that have that. Afghanistan, you look at where they're throwing rocks in Syria. They have no way to defend themselves. But the mental illness in this nation is something that needs to be addressed. Quit addressing the guns. That's not the issue. The guns are not the issue. Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Timothy McVeigh blew up the suppository in Texas. And what did he use? A van full of fertilizer. The Boston bombers, what did they use? A crock pot. People are going to that have mental illness are going to use, and then you had the guy running around with a freaking machete. These people have mental illnesses. But does that mean, and then the guys in New York that ran and killed all those people with their cars?
Or they're just evil,
Yeah.
They can still be evil.
They're going to find a way to do mass killings. You got the guys in New York that ran over a buttload of people and killed them. But what I was saying earlier is where in the hell is CNN, MSNBC, all these other damn news organizations when 50 people in Chicago were shot this weekend and 7 were murdered and they're dead? I didn't see one thing, but I seen where there was other coverages, and that shit happens in Chicago every week and New Orleans and in major metropolitan areas, but you don't see them covering it.
Baltimore.
And who's the big shooters up there in Chicago? MS-13. Where in the hell did they come from?
America.
They came across the border. They just deported.
Mexico.
Yeah, they just deported them. They come from all over South America. They come from all over the country, and then they recruit people here. MS-13 was never here until they came across the border and started recruiting them.
They were invited by the DNC.
Well, look at what's his name with the
You got Pelosi. Pelosi can't even say a bad word about MS-13. Pelosi looks at MS-13 as potential Democratic voters.
They're all human, is what she said.
I've often thought the Democratic Party was in bed with the Mexican drug cartels. Now, whether or not that's conjecture based on fact, I don't know. But I've often thought that.
When she was taking up for him and a bunch of them up in Congress were taking up for MS-13, saying, well, they're humans. They shouldn't be called scumbuckets and lowlifes. Bullshit. Anybody that will go out and rape women just for the hell of it to get another notch on them or another tattoo, or will go up and slaughter a kid in a baby stroller and kill it in front of its mother just to get a point so that they can be moved up in MS-13, that's bullcrap. At some point, if the border is open, I love zoos. I think all animals should be free. But I don't want them to open the damn gates on a zoo and have Mr. Lion come running out of my ass, even though I would love to have one of those iguanas or one of the parrots or a zebra. But you also have bears. You have stuff that's bad in a zoo. But you're going to open the gates and let all the animals out? Nope. Just like our borders. At some point, I'm all for legal immigration, but not illegal immigration. Because once you have open borders, you open it up to every terrorist group that can come across. You open it up to anybody that wants to do harm. Look at what happened at 9/11. And a lot of the people are not old enough to remember 9/11. But 9/11, a handful of people came in and brought this country to its knees. Till this day, we still have our volunteer firefighters, our fire department, our police department, our military that are still dying of cancer. That's why Congress just voted to give them more money. But they're still suffering. There's people still suffering. There's still families that are still lost from a bunch of Taliban dumbasses that come in and invaded this country. Al Qaeda, Taliban are all the freaking same to me.
Whatever, I agree. I mean, I'm not a fan of any that because the Muslim people, and a lot of them are great people. Don't get me wrong, but they were pretty cozy to the Nazi Germans, and I don't like that. Okay.
I mean, we have our own problems here with the KKK and the skinheads and all these other hate groups, and I'll even put what's the Black Panthers. I'll put them in the same group. There's all kinds of. We have enough hate in this country with different groups that we have that some of them our own government has created. So we don't need any more of that bullshit.
Most of the hate is being fomented by the big media. They foment hate. But I want you to know this. I'm all about love.
All right, well, I'm going to give you the last minute here. So go ahead and shoot.
I'd like to tell you, first of all, Travis, that I love you, and I love all of our listeners. I love all of my brothers.
Hang on, so I give you an aw.
I love my black brothers, my brown brothers, my yellow brothers, my gay brothers. I love them all. But I prefer conservative values as opposed to left-wing, lunatic, New York Times style government. Okay? So I say this. Screw the New York Times, screw the Washington Post, screw CNN, screw MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS, your main screw them and vote for Trump. Repudiate the media, vote for Trump. Trump is making this country stronger by the day. Wait till we get a deal with China. Things will really pop then. But right now, China needs some lessons. Thank God we got a strong president and not some crooked guy like Joe Biden running the country. Gee, or worse yet, Obama. What a disaster he was. So the country's coming back, and I'm happy. And I love everybody, and I'm all about love.
I should give you an aw. We need to get an aw button on there, Chris.
I love you, man.
All right. Well, we'll see you next Wednesday night, Greg. Same time, same bat channel.
I love everybody. I'm a lover.
Okay. All right, lover boy. Nice suit, by the way.
Hate. All right, see you later.
All right, I'll get with you. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
All right.
All right. That was Greg Williams, attorney at law up in Jacksonville. If you guys need a good attorney, Greg does work down in Putnam County. He will come down here, although his main place is in Jacksonville. And his number is 904-358-8180, 904-358-8180. He's up out of Jacksonville. He'll do anything but murder cases. So if you kill somebody, don't bother calling him up. But if you got busted with pot or, traffic tickets or, you just did something stupid, call Greg up. He will work with you on your prices and stuff. I want to thank everybody tonight. And just, the thing is like Jackie, thank you for writing in your stuff. We might not agree on everything, but at the end of the night, the end of the day, when we all come together and we agree to disagree, at least there's communication going on. You might be a Democrat, you might be a Republican. I'm an independent. I think both sides are crooked as hell. I think this country has been put in a crapper because of both sides, not just one, but both sides. Know your candidates, get to know what their values are, and that's what we need in this country is we need values. We need them instilled in the families. The biggest thing wrong with our country right today is kids raising themselves. Too many kids sit on video games and play video games, and Trump was right about that. I don't agree with him on the whole video thing is what's causing all this. It's not. I got to disagree with the man on that. What's wrong with our country is that people don't get out and take their kids canoeing. They don't get out and take their kids camping or to the movies anymore. They go and they do their own thing, or they let the grandparents raise the kids, and they pass the buck on to somebody else but themselves. And people that try to make friends with your kids, let me tell you something. Your kids are not meant to be your friends. They're meant to be your kids. Raise them like they're your children. Instill some values in them. Teach them discipline. And if you got to, put the hand across their ass. But more importantly, teach them the right things in life. And when you find that out, and yes, I've done a lot of research on these mass killers. I mean, the guy down in Florida, he was pretty much raised by everybody else but his parents. You know, you got to instill some morals and some values into your kids. Instead of letting them sit there and letting the TV raise them or video games raise them, here's a new concept. Try raising your freaking kids yourself. And do a good job at it. Don't raise them the way you were raised. If you were beat when you were younger, don't beat your damn kids and use that as an excuse. Oh, I was beat when I was a kid, so I'm going to beat my kid. Or I was sexually molested when I was a kid, so I'm going to sexually molest my kids. That's bullshit, and you know it. And for all you pedophiles out there, go kill yourselves. You know, if you're molesting kids, there's no hope for you. Just end your life and do the world a favor. I mean, that's a sick-ass thing to happen. I don't give a damn what your excuse is. If you were raised by a pedophile, you have no right to hurt a child, period. And I got a show coming up on that. You know, and the whole abortion thing, don't kill kids when they come out. If a kid's breathing or you're in your last trimester, that is still a kid. You are not, that just because you're a woman does not mean that baby is not a live human being at that point. Don't allow that shit to happen. It's just wrong. But at the end of the day, you know, when we come together and we talk, that's how things get worked out. And we're going to shut down for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to do a What's Pissing Me Off segment because there was some bullcrap that went on this a couple nights ago and a couple things this week that I'm going to just bust people's asses on. So if you want to hear it, flip back on and what do we got, Chris? 10 minutes? 5 minutes?
Sure.
About 10 minutes. Flip back on. And we'll be back, starting back up again. I'm going to run about a 15-minute segment of what's pissing me off. All right, guys and gals, I want to give my shout-outs to, let's see, all the people that are listening tonight. Jackie, Todd, Doug, Jolie. What's some more? Scroll down there real quick. There's too many of them to get to. Todd, Ann, crap, there's way too many. Desiree, Ann, Diane, Todd, damn, that thing's going too fast. There's too many people to get to all of them. So, but anyways, I want to thank you guys and gals. My partner in crime over in Tampa who runs the Putman Way. If you want to get some good news, some factual news, go over to the Putman Way on Facebook. Some of you are listening to it now. Some of you are listening to it on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button or like button. That's how we get people to kind of sponsor the shows. But make sure you look at the sponsors that are going by on the bottom of our screen. Red Flag Spicy Sauce, Spicy Foods. They got some damn good hot sauce. You know, the down in Georgetown, the golf course, the Oaks. I mean, you got all different kinds of places. You've got Buddies Home Furnishings over in Palaca. You got Satsuma Produce. Got all these different people and different. Keep your business local. I like Amazon. If I can't find it around Putnam County, I usually go to Amazon, but I will spend an extra couple of dollars to support our local businesses. I got to give a shout out to Annette. Thank you, Chris, for all you do. And to Chris's mom and sister. Annette up in Louisiana, and Audrey. Mr. Steve up there, Jimmy. I think that's about it. So, anyways, I'll be back in a few minutes with what's pissing me off. We'll see you then. And this is Austin Neal, Brothers in Arms.
See the guitar in the corner, it's the one I learned to play on. Believe me or not, it's been all around the world. It's been back and forth to Georgia, Carolina a couple times. But there's that one trip that takes me back in time. On a plane ride to a foreign land, a journey had begun to represent.